What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making two forms of empanada, the classic Colombian empanada and a vegetarian empanada for those of you who choose not to eat meat. So these are all the ingredients you'll need for both types of empanadas. Over here, the vegetarian. You need 10 cups of packed spinach, about a cup of feta cheese, and over here I have a spice mix of 1 tablespoon each of basil, thyme, and oregano, a pinch of chili flakes, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And on the traditional Colombian side, we have 3 potatoes cut into large chunks, 1 diced tomato, 1 diced onion, a bunch of coriander roughly chopped, 4 scallions thinly sliced, a pound of beef tenderloin, a tablespoon and a half of cumin, 1 tablespoon of saffron, and 3 cloves of crushed garlic. And I also forgot we need a liter of beef broth. So we're gonna start off with the vegetarian one, and what we're gonna need is the largest pan, like get the largest pan you have. Don't even add any oil or anything, we're just gonna pile on the spinach. It's gonna take about like 5 minutes to reduce completely. Leave it at low temperature, definitely don't wanna burn it. Stir it around here and there so it wilts a little bit more evenly. You don't have to constantly stir it, but just keep an eye on it. So once it's all completely wilted, we can take it off the heat and we can strain out all the water. Try to drain all the water from the spinach because you want it to be as dry as possible before adding in the rest of the ingredients. We can add it to a nice bowl, toss in all the feta and the spices, and then you can just go ahead and mix it all together. And this is your vegetarian mix. All right, so we can just set the vegetarian mix aside while we do the Colombian mix. For the Colombian mix, start with about 2 tablespoons of canola oil on high heat. So once the oil is nice and hot, we can start to sweat the onions. Get those nice and steamy, and when they're translucent, when they begin to get translucent, we can add in the tomatoes and garlic, as well as the cumin and saffron. Just stir this for about 30 seconds to coat everything, and then you can add in the coriander and green onions. Don't forget to season with a little bit of salt and pepper. I added about a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, but you can season accordingly, of course. Once the herbs are wilted down, we can add in the meat and the 1 liter of beef stock. Oops. So we're just gonna bring this to a boil, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about 30 minutes. While that's simmering, we can start forming the vegetarian empanadas. So what you're gonna need for the vegetarian empanada dough is 2 ingredients: white pre-cooked cornmeal and 1.5 cups of warm water. Knead that together until you form your dough. Once you've formed your dough, it should still feel a little moist. That's good. You just don't want it to be too wet, and you definitely don't want it to be dry. This recipe should make about 15 empanadas. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to form 15 even-sized balls. All right, so the next step, you have 2 options. You can either use a rolling pin, or you can get yourself one of these. This is literally meant for making tortillas. So since I have it, I'm gonna use this one, and I highly recommend it. You'll also need 2 pieces of plastic. I'm using 2 Ziploc bags because you can reuse them and it's better for the environment. So I'm just gonna lay one of the balls out. I'm gonna flatten it, just like that. Lay the other piece of plastic on top so it doesn't stick to any surfaces. And then I'm going to flatten it. And there you go. Next step, add just about 1 tablespoon of filling. So what I actually like to use to form my empanadas is a 5-inch bowl. I'm gonna show you why. So at this step, we're gonna fold it just until the end reaches the other side. And then I'm gonna take the bowl and I'm gonna shape it like a cookie cutter. And then this is the traditional shape of an empanada. Just a sharp edge right there. That's perfect. So it's been about half an hour, and as you can see, it's reduced about halfway, and now we can add in the potatoes. And we're just gonna let it continue to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes or until the potatoes are cooked. After about 15 minutes, the meat and potatoes should be nice and tender, so we can go ahead and strain it. Try to strain out all the stock, and we're actually gonna keep all the stock at the bottom. We're just gonna set this aside and let it cool off while we form the dough. So for the Colombian empanadas, get yourself the 2 cups of white cornmeal again. And remember how I said to keep the beef stock? Well, here's why. Measure out your beef stock until it's at about 1.5 cups. If it doesn't reach that much, then just add water. Then once again, form your dough. So once you've formed your dough, it should be nice and sticky just like the other one. And just like the other one, we're going to form 15 small, equally sized balls. So this is cooled down long enough. So we're gonna take some of it, we're gonna line it up right on the cutting board. And you know what we're gonna do next? We're gonna take our knife and we're gonna chop it. Just rough, just go at it, you know? Just make sure not to cut yourself. And we're gonna do that with all of it. Also, if you can, get a dough cutter. It's so easy to clean cutting boards with this. So just like last time, place your dough in the middle, flatten it out a little bit, place the plastic on top, grab about a tablespoon, just like last time. You know, I realize that this is definitely not a tablespoon. This is probably like more 2 tablespoons, a tablespoon and a half. Next, we're gonna fry them in canola oil at 350 degrees Celsius. Just gently drop them in. I'm just gonna do like 2 at a time to not overcrowd it. That's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching. As usual, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There's plenty more videos on my channel, so be sure to check that out. As usual, be sure to check back for a new video, and I'll see you all next time. Peace, guys.